Greetings! I'm going to do a review this evening of Medocino Brewing's Red Tail Amber Ale. And Medocino is out of Ukiah, California, so I suppose that could be considered a little bit of a stretch for a local beer, but I consider it a local beer. Ukiah is not that far from me. Okay, no information on this beer about the bittering units or the alcohol by volume content, which I should have looked at before I started the video, but I forgot. So, Red Tail Amber Ale is going to be considered an American Amber Ale, which is category 10B in American Ales, the Amber Ale category. So, let's get started. Okay, aroma. Definitely hoppy. This particular style has some dry hopping going on, usually of American style hops, and so it's a little citrusy, kind of resiny, but it's not overbearing, so I can still get some sweetness of malt in that aroma. It did pour with an okay head, and it retained decently well. It has a beautiful kind of hazy, actually maybe that's, let's see. No, it's a little hazy amber color to it, which you can see kind of well. There we go. So it's got some nice color to it and nice aroma. So it should be an amber to copper brown in color. Generally quite clear, although dry hopped versions may be slightly more hazy. And I did not read in advance about this particular beer, but I get the, I've had it before and I've always thought it was a little bit hoppier than I was expecting out of an amber ale. And so I wouldn't be surprised to find out that it was dry hopped or late hopped, where we would get a little bit more haze. So let's see here. Oh, my favorite part, flavor. Wow. Okay. This is a really complex beer. Lots of stuff going on. It's hoppy, but only in the finish. So the aftertaste is a little bitter, and then the finish really kind of rounds together the hoppiness and the maltiness. It's really a quite good combination. So as far as flavor profiles, flavor characteristics for this particular style of beer, we're expecting moderate to high hop flavor, but malt flavors are moderate to strong and usually show an initial malty sweetness followed by a moderate caramel flavor. Malt and hop bitterness are usually balanced and mutually supportive. So I think that really describes this beer very well. So it starts out and it's got a lot of malty sweetness to it, but it finishes in a really balanced way, and just a slight kind of crisp astringency, and a little tingle of carbonation. It really doesn't have what I would call a high carbonation level. Just enjoyable. So I think it's a very drinkable. The last time I remember having it, I thought it was really hoppy, and so I don't know if that was in relation to another beer I had tried before it, or I was in a not in a hoppy mood, or what. But I don't think that was a good remembrance of this particular beer, because it's not how it tasted to me at all right now. So it's the overall impression for this particular style reads, it's like an American pale ale with more body, more caramel richness, more balance toward malt than hops, although hop rates can be significant. So we're going to see IBUs in the 25 to 40 range here. Alcohol by volume is going to be somewhere between 4.5 and 6.2. And so, like I said, I didn't do my research before I opened this beer, so I don't know those numbers, but they'll be included in the description of this video. I feel like Red Tail is a really great ale, and I think for a while, it wasn't my go-to necessarily. I was drinking Gordon Biersch Marzen, which is, I don't know. It's similar, but it's definitely it has a sweeter, maltier flavor to it, I suppose. It's not necessarily well, I think it is an amber ale. But I feel like that was my go-to for a long time. And I can, now that I've had this again, I remember why it is I like amber ale so much. I think it's a great balance. I like hop flavor. I just don't like it to be overwhelming. And so here we can enjoy all the sweetness and caramel and roastiness that malts provide. But with hops, that's nicely balanced and not overwhelming. So in that respect, I think they've done really well. Great beer. Some comments about this particular, history on this style. Known simply as red ales in some regions, these beers were popularized in the hop-loving Northern California and the Pacific Northwest areas before spreading nationwide. So this is kind of the precursor to super hoppy IPAs, or maybe what we think of now as American IPAs, and even session ales, which tend to be on the hoppier side, but just lower alcohol content. So comments, it can overlap in color with American Pale Ales. However, American Amber Ales differ from American Pale Ales not only by being darker in color, but also by having more caramel flavor, more body, and usually being balanced more evenly between malt and bitterness. So a Pale Ale is going to be more on the malt side, while an IPA is more on the hop side, and so this is really well balanced between, as you heard in my comments. So should not have a strong chocolate or roast character that might suggest an American brown ale, although smaller amounts are okay. So there is one more category in the American ale genre that's called American Brown Ale, which is where the darker malts will come in. We're going to get some of that more roasty, toasty, chocolate, burnt characteristics out of it, and so this is kind of middle of the road as far as malts go, and then really as far as hop flavor is going to go. So great beer, really great beer. I really like what Medocino does, and I feel like at this point that I don't drink their beer enough, so I think it'll be on my list of things to be doing in the future. If you've tried Red Tail, share with me what you think about it, but also where are you? I'm curious to know how far Medocino Brewing has made it outside of this. Because I'm in Northern California, and so Ukiah is Northern California, but I'm curious to see how far it has reached, and then what kind of beer do you normally drink? What is your favorite style? Because I want to kind of compare your opinion of this beer against your style preference. So thank you so much for watching. Share your comments down below, and have a great night.